Well, as silver nears 22, I could say the American spirit is still alive. You know, it before on the way down, 22 was like god awful. 26 was god awful. And freaking 30 was awful. You know, on the way up, it's like saying, "Oh boy, everybody's getting excited," but it's got a ways to go. But I always say, I put a little bit more of conspiratorial doom and gloom stuff out recently, but my emphasis is on having a positive attitude too. You got to be realistic, and you got to have a positive attitude. Silver may or may not be. Well, I'm going to tell you what. I think I'm always going to have a certain amount of silver no matter what, because you never know. You never know. It's always should be a small portion of what anybody has as just to make sure you have a mixed bag. Even if it goes up. Now, I looked at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, man, is getting trashed again. And I put a video out before. I think I originally put it out when it was like 200 something. I says it's going in the bubble. It's getting dangerous. I don't know where it's going to go to. It's going to go probably maybe higher, but when it starts going up that fast, it can come down that fast. So it went up way over 1,000 and it came down. Now it's like at 124 on one of the exchanges. Now, that's a good example of what can happen when silver goes hyperbolic. Because, man, oh man, I'm already picking up a lot of these alternative media stories right now. As soon as the markets went down a little bit, or whatever, as soon as silver or gold has a little bit of life, they come out of the woodwork that the sky is falling immediately. And, these people want to see the West fall. I mean, they're so stupid. They're whole. You know what? All these people that are in this doom and gloom industry, I don't give a damn who they are. If they're predicting trends, they're predicting this and that. They're commentators or whatever the hell they are. Their future is wrapped up in the survival of the United States of America. That's just how it goes, man. Either way, it's either the United States or it's the Western capitalist system. Their future is wrapped up in that. And it's like they're just playing a game, to make some money, and that's all they're doing. That's why I could put out a gazillion more videos on doom and gloom if I wanted to, and maybe get more hits on that. But I don't play that angle because my angle is prepare for the worst, hope for the best. You know what I mean? Don't be a doom and gloomer, but do some practical preparation. And so silver's moving up a little bit today. It did quite well, but I think it's like I said before. I think where it may hit a lot of resistance is at 26 because it had a lot of resistance on the way down. But it's still got a long ways to go before it even hits 26. And percentage-wise, going from 18 to 26 is a hell of a big jump. But all the people that were freaking throwing stones at people at 18, knocking people, I don't have a freaking crystal ball on this stuff, but, nobody does, but that's just how it is. That's just how it is. A lot of people were knocking people about Bitcoins when it was like a fraction of a penny and it went up over 1,000. Silver, when it super spikes a few years from now, it could do something crazy like even if, I hate to say it because it sounds nuts today, but it could be over 1,000 an ounce, not fundamentally. Panic mode to the max. Just like Beanie Babies goes to some... It would be way over what it should be worth. But, I bet you the long-term price of silver, and I think the dollar's going to be around, unless something really, really crazy happens. The long-term price of silver is going to be over 100 an ounce, long-term, years from now. But, people... And I'm not talking 20 years, maybe 5 years, the way things are going with all the debt and everything. But, it looks like... And we're still piling on more debt. It looks like Obama caved in on the adjusted CPI thing for the Social Security. They're going to do another type of consumer price index that would not give them Social Security recipients that as much of a raise. Wouldn't follow the actual inflation rate that much. So that's more government spending. But I'll tell you the truth, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what goes on in other parts of the government. Man, I hate to say it, I'm all for defense, but there's a hell of a lot of waste in defense. A hell of a lot of defense. I'm all for defense, but it's like there's a hell of a lot of waste in there. You could probably have a much better defense for like less money, The Chinese, when they spend money on defense, they're probably getting a hell of a lot. They are getting a hell of a lot more per dollar than they are in the United States. Now, I also want to talk about the elasticity of the, like the labor cost in, say, the mining sector. Now that, the prices of silver and gold and copper and lead and all this other stuff, if, were plummeted, now they're moving back up again. So it's becoming more profitable for them to mine. It's still not profitable, really. It's not profitable if they got to do new ventures, because as the stuff that's already established starts running out, they got to actually outlay new capital to get into new areas to get more supply, So then, there's different costs of the product basically based upon, do I have an established mine that's just, that I can just keep running, that I already, depreciated all the assets and everything like that. Everything's running. The only thing I got to do is pay labor and fuel and electricity and all this type of stuff, and some equipment maintenance. Or do I have to, once that runs out, what do you do, right? Well, the thing is, that's going to require a hell of a lot more capital, and that's where the supplies can, in a realistic way, can actually start dwindling, and because the price has to be a lot higher than it is right now for the supply to stay at a height. But the other problem is, it's the labor. You see, when this works with, I could say the construction industry and the mining industry are similar in some ways, because it's like you have to there's a skilled labor involved with both those industries. In other words, say for instance, there's to give an example right now, the construction industry was an extremely hot market up to about 2007, and say very early 2007, and there was loads of subcontractors and everything out there. And what happened after the market crashed, all those subcontractors went into other businesses. And, maybe they're electricians, maybe they're even in the same field, but they got their own business. They're not going to be working, they got their own customers. They've changed and tailored, what they do a little bit differently. And they are busy with their own set of work they got now. They're not working for the construction industry per se, and they might have went even into completely different industries for all I know. Now the same thing happens with the mining industry. As the mining industry, all these mines close and they lay off all these people go into other jobs and they go into other work. Maybe a miner is now doing something totally different. Maybe he's working for, I don't know, maybe he's working for the state on road construction or something. I don't know what the guy, what he'd be doing. But the thing is, what happens is, you see, this is not like you just can't hire anybody off the street and say, hey, go build a house or go mine minerals out of the earth. You got to get skilled people. And see, this is where there's actually going to be a shortage of labor, skilled labor. You got to remember that it's not just dollars and cents. You got to have people that know what the hell they're doing. And if you get people that don't know what they're doing, you're going to have other experienced people train them, and there's going to be a learning curve before it gets all smoothed out. So what I'm saying is, there's almost like this, the price gets smashed down too much, and the supply is not just going to be able to go wham, here it is, just fulfill supply right away. And what's going to happen is, not only is there going to be the existing mines running out of what they have in production as an ongoing thing, where they have to actually go into other areas and find new ores and new properties and do all the what do you call it, the engineering studies, the geological studies, the impact studies, the road studies, the taxes and everything else that has to be paid, and in any kind of impact on a community, indigenous people. You just can't freaking just jump in a place and start shoveling out dirt and freaking sifting through trying to get ore. It doesn't work like that. And then on top of that, though, is where do you get the labor that knows what the hell they're doing? You have to figure there's a hell of a lot of controls involved in a mining operation so the labor doesn't steal the stuff too. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to remember this. There's a lot of stuff goes on involved in that. It's not that easy. So as even though the price is getting up to 22, it's still way too low. It's still way too low, and so we're going to see a hell of a lot more spike. But the other spike upwards. What I have to say though is you just got to watch about hoping for a reset and the collapse of the Illuminati in the West and all that. I see this stuff all the time on the damn conspiracy and alternative media. But I'm going to tell you right now, America's enemies, we got the traditional, like North Korea. Give an example. There's a good example. Anybody, I'll tell you what, if there's ever a war that the United States should start, should just, wipe out the regime somehow, it should be on North Korea. Because North Korea is horrible. But I'm telling you right now, if there's a collapse in the West, you know what? There's going to be some other system come in place, and it may be 100 times worse. That's why you don't want to actually want a collapse. You don't want that. You want to make a lot of money on silver, and that's nice. And you want to be in the right spot at the right time, that's nice. But just don't hope for a collapse. And, that's what these doom and gloomers are always pushing. And, they're so disingenuous because basically they're all tied in with this garbage. If there's a collapse, say there was a North Korean type regime that established itself in the United States. These doom and gloomers would be sent to the freaking slave death camps. You want that? Come on, man. It's ridiculous. So I don't know, man. These people are full of shit. Basically, that's all there is to it. Now, I know, like in Ukraine, they got the deal going with the revolution, and I know it's probably pushed by the West. It's against Putin and all this type of stuff. And I'm gonna tell you, man, there is no such thing as, well, maybe it's a mixed bag, but the elitists on the other side of the world aren't a bunch of saints. I actually, one thing I have to point out about George Soros, I know he's still betting heavy on the S&P and the markets crashing and stuff. They probably will. You got to remember, the bottom's not going to fall out in these markets. They got a lot of controls to keep it from going way the hell down. If you see a 30% decline, that's a lot. That's a lot. People are thinking it's going to go down 70% or something like that, or 90%. No. And that ain't going to happen, man. That ain't going to happen. If it goes down 30 or say even 40%, that's a hell of a lot. That's a jump. But when people are making bets on betting that the markets are going down, they're making a lot of money on that. They're making a lot. They're betting huge amounts of money. So if you get, if you bet huge amounts of money, you get 10% on huge amounts of money. That's a significant amount. People hold coins. They might be holding so many coins. They want to get triple because they don't have that much money, and they don't have that much money in here. But let's say Soros makes a bet. He doesn't need to make triple on it or something like that. He needs to make 10, 15%. That's a hell of a lot of money. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Soros' philosophy in general, because Soros actually is, he hates, he doesn't, let me put it this way. He don't like the United States and he don't like Russia. He thinks they're both bullies. That's what he thinks. In a way, it's a little bit true. I don't know. Yeah, in a way, it's true. But, I don't know. That's the way he thinks. I tell you what I like about Soros, though, is not that or any of his... I guess the only thing I like about Soros is that, even though I don't smoke weed, I don't do any of that stuff, but he wants to legalize that stuff. But actually, I tell you the truth, I like Soros because he drops a lot of hints about stuff. More so than people pick up on. And the guy, if you actually listen to a lot of shit he says, he will drop more hints than a lot of these other people that say they're insiders. Actually, Soros freaking knows a lot of crap. I'm not really, I don't agree with him politically or nothing like that, but he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And, but anyway, I should talk a little bit about some other things because, some people talk about the the stuff that's going on in the United States with the FEMA camps, and that's one of the deals they bring up with the doom and gloomers and all that. I'm going to tell you right now, in a lot of ways, we almost do have something like that, because they got these corporate correction industries or something like that. I forget what the hell it is. So it's like prison industries and whatever. They're taking all these young males and stuff like that, and they're basically using them like slave labor. And that's going on in the United States because, well, they're prisoners. So they're taking them, and then the correction facility, I think they do something where they go over to the prison industries facility, and then they work. But a lot of these people, and the United States has the highest incarceration rate per capita in the world. Yeah. It's like, slavery's illegal, but they got it legal in another way. See, that kind of shit is messed up to the fucking max. And actually, of the people that are in prisons, it's way heavier on blacks or people of color, it's like than anybody. It is. And a lot of it is over minor stuff like drug infractions, like weed or something like that. Something stupid. And they get in trouble for it. I tell you right now, man. See, that's one reason I totally avoid anything. I mean, I'm not against weed, personally. But I avoid it to the max. I avoid anybody that does it. I don't associate it with it because I don't want, some idiot to freaking have an excuse to screw me over. But I advocate that it should be legal. But actually so people like, if you want it. But you know what? In the United States, even that kind of evil doing is nothing compared to what goes on in North Korea. North Korea is ridiculous. It's like you don't even know what you're charged. You can't even ask them what you're being charged with. So people like advocating like the destruction of saying, oh yeah, the big collapse and the elite are gonna get what they deserve. You better watch out, because if you don't know what the hell the next step is. Actually, if you got the balls right now, a lot of this stuff can be changed. If a lot of people started voicing their opinion about some of the injustices going on in America, with the high incarceration rate over stupid little bullshit infractions for I'm not somebody that advocates drugs, but all these little freaking people got so much weed, they're in prison and they're slave labor and all this kind of crap. They ought to throw that shit out the window. That's big time. And in the meantime, I tell you what, I would avoid any of that shit. I wouldn't leave them any kind of leeway for they could screw you over. But people actually advocating like this big, hey, yeah, the United States is going to get it, watch, it's going to get worse. Because actually the USA's got all the pillars in place where people, if they got off their dead ass, could fix everything, no problem, overnight. They really could. They really could. The people themselves could fix it. We get the leaders we deserve. That's 99% of the problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, because people are looking a lot at the money angle, but you got to look at something that's the most essential, and a lot of people always put this as the lowest: food and water. Jim Rogers is going to be correct about agriculture is probably going to be the hottest area in the where there's going to be the most production, the most finance coming from. And today, well, it looks like it's getting to be a pretty tough business because of all the freaking weather problems. Like in California, the drought is going, very bad. It's like a record drought, and because of the high pressure centers. And I got suspicion about who the hell knows with all the extreme weather we got. What something like UK's got flooding. The Northeast United States has record snowstorms. Florida's sunny and 80. Maybe it's going to be hurricane season next time. I'm going to have to freaking worry about that. But it's like, I think catastrophes are being created on purpose, and silver's not going to be your only safety. That's one of your deals, man. That's one aspect you want to concentrate on. But do not hope that the whole system caves in. Because actually, in the United States, we got the freaking best system in the world. This is the best system, period, ever devised by mankind in the United States. The problem is, a lot of people aren't freaking getting off their dead ass and making sure it freaking works right. It's like, if you got all these people, like, if you got this situation, there's slave labor basically going on in the United States over bullshit minor drug infractions, where they just, somebody got caught with a big bag of weed or something like that, and now they're in prison and they're a slave for 10 years or something. People aren't voicing their opinion enough about this type of stuff to stop it. They're not. That's the problem. Actually, they should declare amnesty for all these minor drug infractions, and to hell with this shit. Release all these people. Period. I mean, I should just make this. I mean, that's the way it should be. It should be. I mean, people want to freaking, I mean, there's always some way to freaking screw yourself up. You could take a can of freaking glue or something and sniff it and get a high or something. It's not illegal. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're using this as an excuse to enslave people. But here in the United States, we got a freaking voice to stop it. And that's the 99% of the problem. And I say the 99% because a lot of times people are saying it's the 1%. And I say there's more fault actually in the 99%. Okay? So, I mean, people like, you look at this stuff with these conspiracy blogs, and they're like hoping for the whole system to fall apart. The system isn't a problem, man. It's these conspiracy blogs are for giddy minds. That's all they're for, and I won't play that angle. See, I'm not anti-American. I'm anti-lethargic Americans. I'm anti-lethargic Americans, the ones that sit on their ass and don't freaking try to not change the system, but fix the wrongdoings. And we have the system to do that. Fix the wrongdoings. And, the way I fight back is partly through silver, because, you're not partaking in any of the system where people are taking their little fees. Like I said before, brokers, if they got like $20 million under their management, they're making $100,000, And where's that fees coming from? The clients and the investment funds and everything. It comes out of the pool some way or another. Whereas you buy physical, see, that's why, it's almost ludicrous when you see investment advisors on any channels or anything like that, and they're brokers. I mean, Schiff, he's a broker. I mean, come on, man. What do you think they're trying to do? They're trying to get more fees. I mean, some people might criticize me for, I'm not saying with AdSense. And I'm going to tell you right now, I originally put out this stuff with AdSense over car videos, actually, not even silver. I was putting out some car videos on some angles that people did not understand, and I realized the electronics in the car was the freaking problem, and there was a lot of different problems with the aftermarket parts and stuff, and I says, boy, that was, it was hard to figure out, because you just couldn't figure it out straight 101 mechanical type stuff. And that's actually how I started AdSense in the videos, and it wasn't like I asked to do it. I was asked about it. And but my actual field is kind of accounting finance. It is accounting finance. It's just that I'm kind of a jack of all trades. But people that are putting out this doom and gloom stuff, I don't like it. We got the tools to fix anything right away. I got more of a problem with the 99% than I do with the 1%, to tell you the truth. But anyway, silver looks like it's going to have a stellar year, I think. But what may drive it up, because I'm predicting that they're probably going to have a war with Iran this year, and I'm thinking to myself, I can't almost imagine what the silver conspiracy alternative media is going to be pumping out during that time. Do not go against the United States of America. I'm not saying you're supposed to bow down and worship the elite. I'm talking about our system is not screwed up. It's the problem is that we got a lot of lethargic people that don't bother to use this system. It's more the problem of the 99% than the 1%. So, you know, as 22 approaches with silver, the American spirit is still well and alive. So I just have to leave you with that. Oh yeah, and by the way, that cat always keeps showing once in a while. They're both doing fine. The other one's still a shy cat, but I think in a few months I'll probably be able to hold him up for all I know. That'd be freaking wild. Nobody's been able to pick that cat up yet, ever. So anyway, yesterday he was coming up with it about this far with, I don't push it. I just let the cat do whatever the hell he wants. So yeah, I let him he got about that far away from me on his own sometimes. He never got that damn close before on his own. I mean, I pet him a little bit before, but I'm not pushing it because let him do what he wants. But that's how you got to have it. So, anyway, over and out.